Wow, check that out. This was full this morning. It's already been wiped out. In the winter, sometimes I fill this bird feeder up 2 or 3 times because I have a great assortment of wonderful birds and animals that feed on my feeders. Northern cardinals, I have robins, chickadees. I love the little chickadees. You know, I'm not much of a birder, but I do love to sit at my office window and look down at my feeders during the day and even in the early evening and the mornings because it's just full of activity, wonderful colors, especially when this is all full of snow. And I just love to look down on this, and I love this area. But it's springtime, and you're probably wondering, well, why is he doing a bird feeder now? Well, this is actually the best time of year. After surveying all the winter damage in my yard, this area actually took the biggest hit, probably because of all the activity. Now, all I have here is this metal feeder, this metal pole, and as you can imagine, my squirrels love to take a running jump from this area right up to my feeders, and of course, they bend this thing right over, so I need something a little sturdier. I don't want to ruin their Cirque du Soleil act, but I would like to have something a little bit sturdier and something that's a little bit more attractive for this backyard area. Now in the summer, this is full of flowers and plants, and again, I'd like something a little bit more attractive that would fit in with this area, and I think I have just the thing. Let me run to the garage, I'll bring it out here, I'll set it up, and then I'll explain to you exactly how I put it all together. All right, the last feeder. It's my old feeder, but it's been tried and true and I love it. Hey, this turned out to be a pretty easy project. Now, the material that I use is a 4x4 pressure treated post that I purchased at a home center store. I placed it in position where the old feeder was, and I decided that I wanted it to be about 7 feet tall. Took it back to my garage and then used my circular saw, I cut it down to length. Now, when you cut a big post like this, you're going to need to make 2 passes on your circular saw. And I also use a speed square to help guide the cut so it's nice and straight. So make 1 pass, flip the post over, and then do another pass, and you'll cut it down to size. The next thing I wanted to do was soften the edges a little bit. Now I use my router with a cove bit. Now I measured up from the bottom 18 inches and from the top 12 inches, and I put 2 stop blocks at the end of each post, at the end of the post, so that my router had a stopping place so that I had even cuts all the way along the post. So you place your blocks, your stopping blocks with some clamps, make your pass with your router, reclamp, put the blocks on, and then flip it over, and you can just make your passes all 4 sides of the post. Now to secure it to the ground, I could have used concrete, but you know, I want to move this around. It may not be its permanent position here. I may place it in other parts of the yard. So I use what is called a speed post. Now it's 30 inches tall, and these are so you can drive them into the ground and position a post. Now I use the other half of the block from the top of the post to hammer into the ground the actual speed post using my sledgehammer. I drove it all the way down, made sure that the post was level using my level, and then I just cut out the block that I used to hammer using my axe. It's going to be driven in there pretty solid, so just use an axe to get it out of there. Now the next thing I had to do is discover where I wanted to put my array of hangers, and I just held them into position till I got a positioning that I liked. Then I used the level to make sure that they were marked properly in the exact location that they were level to be hung, and then I just used the screws that came with the hangers and drove them in, and I think they look terrific. I have 4 feeders here that work out nice. And then finally I just put a decorative post cap on the top to kind of clean it up and dress it up a little bit. So I think it turned out nice. Now a couple little tips that I've learned about bird feeding. I have my post close enough to the house so that the birds, if they do fly into my windows, they don't have enough speed to hurt themselves. And I also have quite a few little shrubs here that the smaller birds can get away from the larger predators. And I do have some red-tailed hawks flying in this area, so I have to be careful with that. If they do show up, I just remove all my feeders until they get bored and fly away, and then I can put them back and my little birds can come and enjoy themselves. I have a goldfinch feeder, which is a feeder for finch that actually are the only birds that feed upside down. I think that's right. Somebody will call me and tell me I'm not. And I also have some lower hanging feeders from my northern cardinals who like to feed lower. I think it's terrific. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun watching my birds here. In fact, I heard one of them calling me to say, "Hey Matt, get out of here so we can eat." So I'm going to get out of the way, clean up a little bit, let the birds enjoy their new feeding station.